Hey, Noah? Mom just told me that you moved into our house, but is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Why? You don't want me in your house?
No, it's not like that. I was just surprised because it was so sudden. What's the matter?
There's nothing wrong with me moving in, is there? I'm your brother, Lena. I want you to help me move my stuff into the house, but you were out on a business trip. I would have liked a more helpful sister.
Well, it's your fault for not telling me earlier.
It's my own house. I should be able to come back to my home anytime.
I'm not blaming you or anything, don't get me wrong.
What's your problem then?
Jennifer, your wife also moved in with you, right?
Of course. Why wouldn't she?
We're gonna be living together, Noah. Didn't she say anything about it?
No, not at all. She was happy that she no longer has to pay rent.
I hope you guys are at least gonna pay for your own living expenses.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about your food expenses and electricity bills.
Huh? We're a family, but you're asking us to pay for ourselves? I never paid them when I lived with mom and dad before I moved out.
You were a student back then. I pay for my own living expenses too now that I graduated and started working.
It's just the two of us. There wouldn't be much different.
No, this is a big problem. First of all, I don't think you paid back the $50,000 which you borrowed from mom and dad.
I'll pay them back someday.
You say that all the time. You spend all your money on gambling and you never learn from your mistakes. I know you visit us from time to time so that you can borrow money from mom and dad. Whenever you use up all your money, you come back home and steal our savings from the cupboards. You're as awful as a criminal robbing our family.
You call your own brother a robber?
Am I wrong, Noah? You're doing the exact same thing as a robber. You have a wife, can't you be more responsible?
Shut your little mouth. How about you worry about yourself, not me?
Why should I be worried about myself?
You're over 30 without a husband or a boyfriend, and you live with your parents. Are you aware of your own situation? Try comparing yourself with others your age.
So what? Am I causing any trouble to anyone?
Mom's definitely worried about you. We're worried about you ending up alone when they get older.
You're worrying Mom more than me. She's always worried that you might steal their money whenever they leave the house.
I'll never steal again. If I move into your house, I won't have to pay for the rent.
Noah, I've been telling you that accepting you into our house doesn't mean we'll support all your living expenses too.
Lena, why are you so annoying? Oh, I get it now. You're worried that I'll take over the house. Come on, just admit your fears.
Huh?
I'm the son, the first child of mom and dad, right? So it's natural for me to inherit this house after their death, which means that you're technically living in my house.
You've been thinking like that all this time?
That's the truth, Lena. Just admit it.
Okay, now I understand how you really feel about the house. You have no idea.
You're the ignorant one. Don't you ever think you're better than me just because you've always been living with mom and dad. I'll kick you out of the house very soon. You should be embarrassed for living with your parents at your age.
I don't get why you aren't embarrassed of yourself moving back in with selfish reasons at your age.
I've experienced so many hardships living alone, Lena. You haven't left the house even once. You're an embarrassment, you know that?
Let's end it here. I'm gonna tell you one last time that you have to pay for your own living expenses if you're moving into our house. Don't depend on mom and dad with everything.
Hey, Lena, your room was the biggest, right?
Yeah, so what?
Your room used to be mine. Now that your brother is home, don't you think you should give me back my room?
You can't just move in and demand me to give back your room.
Jennifer and I share the smallest room in the house. Why do you get to live in the largest room alone? It doesn't make any sense.
You both only use the room to sleep, but I have work to do at home, so I prefer staying in a larger room.
We also want a large room, Lena. Can we exchange rooms? We get your room and you get ours?
Huh?
You understand that we don't have enough rooms, right?
We have enough rooms. Mom and Dad's room, you and Jennifer's room, and my room. I think it's enough.
What are we going to do if our baby is born? Jennifer and I can share the room with the baby when the baby's young, but we'll need another room when the baby gets older.
You're really planning to take over our house.
Of course, it's my house.
To be exact, it's not your house.
For now it's not, but in the near future, it will. You should start getting ready to leave the house.
Why are you telling me that?
Jennifer's worried if you're going to continue living with us. She feels uncomfortable around you. You should be aware that you're not welcome in this house. I guess you're still single because you're ignorant and lack consideration. What an evil sister I have.
If you don't want to live with me, why did you move into our house in the first place? You knew that I was living with Mom and Dad, right?
We assume that you'll leave once we move in. Aren't you uncomfortable as well?
You assumed that I would leave? How ignorant and inconsiderate. I heard that Jennifer doesn't do anything while Mom does all the housework.
Mom's better at housework than Jennifer, so I don't see any problem.
It's definitely a problem. If you guys are not going to pay for your living expenses, at least do some housework. I'm talking about you too, Noah. Both you and Jennifer should help with housework.
Ugh, Lena, stop being so annoying. How about you? Are you helping Mom with the housework?
I make breakfast for them every morning. I also pay for my living expenses, unlike you.
I bet being single gives you extra time and money. How sad to be single.
Noah, don't you ever think that you can always depend on Mom and Dad?
Don't you ever think you can always live in this house, Lena. I'm not asking you to find a husband. It's not so hard to find a new house, is it? Just leave the house as soon as possible. But I'm warning you beforehand, okay? This is a warning, Lena. I'm not going to accept any complaints from you, all right?
Noah, did you enter my room without telling me? Stop it right now. Get out of my room.
Hey, did Mom tell you about it?
Stop doing whatever you want in our house. You're causing so much trouble.
Then just leave the house. That would solve everything.
How many times do I have to tell you that I won't leave?
Why don't you understand, Lena? You seem like you don't understand your position in this house, so I decided to take action.
Take what action?
I moved your stuff to the garage so you don't have a room anymore. Mom's too nice to tell you this, but you're the one causing them trouble, being single and not leaving the house. Stop depending on Mom and Dad. Just leave already.
Noah, let me tell you, we don't own the house. I think you're misunderstanding.
It's not our house? What do you mean?
We had to sell it to pay back your debts. Dad no longer owns the house. There's nothing you can inherit now, Noah.
You sold the house? Then why are we still living here? Stop making up stories just because you don't want me to inherit the house.
We pay the rent to live here.
Are you serious? What are we gonna do? Who's gonna pay when Dad gets older and is unable to pay?
Oh, about that. There's nothing to worry about. We're gonna pull down our house soon. This is our temporary house until it gets pulled down. There wouldn't be any rent to pay when we no longer have a house.
Pull the house down? Why didn't you tell me earlier about such an important thing?
It's your fault for moving in so suddenly with selfish reasons.
Where's Mom and Dad gonna live after the house is pulled down? They're gonna be moving somewhere else, right?
Yeah, they'll move with me into my new house.
I guess we'll join you guys then.
Huh? Why?
We currently live with Mom and Dad, so it's natural for us to move into their new house.
Did you see what I just texted you? Mom and Dad are moving into my house. It's not Mom and Dad's house. Why would I have to let you and Jennifer live in my house?
That's ridiculous. What are we supposed to do then?
What would I know? You better start looking for a new house to live in. The house is going to be pulled down next month.
We don't have enough time.
We didn't have any time to prepare when you guys moved in so suddenly. When you took away my room, you told me to find a new place to live. I guess it's your turn now. I thought you were the one who said it's not so hard to find a new house. You kicked me out of my room. Why would I accept you to live in my new house? I warned you, Noah. I think you should find a new house to live in with Jennifer.
Lena, why did you leave us?
I said I won't let you both live in my house. There's not enough space for you and Jennifer.
Even so, how can you just move out leaving us homeless? I thought we were a family.
Says you, who never paid back $50,000 to his parents and stole money from the house. Plus, you suddenly moved back into our house because of your selfish reasons, believing that you would soon inherit the house. I'll never forget how you moved all my stuff to the garage and kicked me out of the room.
I thought we owned the house.
That doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Do you understand how much trouble you caused for our family? What makes you think that you can inherit the house?
I'm the only son in the family, and I thought I would be in charge of looking after our parents when they get older.
I'll take care of them, just like I've been doing till now. You've done nothing for them. What can you do now? They're not looking for a caregiver. They just want their money back more than anything.
Mom and Dad are not replying to my texts and phone calls.
They decided not to take any more contact with you now that they left the old house. Oh, but be sure to pay back the $50,000, okay? We have the IOU.
Hey, Lena, we really need help.
I bet.
We don't have enough money to move into somewhere new. Jennifer fell sick from the shock of you leaving us.
Not my business. It's your fault for depending on us too much. I heard you quit your job when you moved in. Mom had been telling you to find a new job, and you were the one who ignored her.
I couldn't find a good job.
Are you in the position to choose jobs? Just get any job. There's still several weeks until the house is pulled down. You can start by getting a part-time job.
A part-time job won't be enough. We'll only be able to make a few $100s.
You never know until you actually try. You also didn't bring much stuff when you moved in, so I think you can save some moving expenses.
Moving requires money. There's rental fees and much more to worry about.
If you're worried about money, you can always start by renting a short-stay apartment.
Lena, look, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I tried kicking you out, and I'm sorry for everything that we did.
You think I'll forgive you with a simple apology?
Please, Lena, let us live with you for a few months.
Nope, never. You never kept your promises. I bet you'll stay forever if I let you live in my house.
I promise, Lena, believe me.
If only you had started paying back Mom and Dad. It would have made you sound more promising. Considering all the trouble you've caused to our family, I don't think I can ever believe in you.
Okay, I won't ask you to let us live with you then, but at least tell us where you moved to.
I know what you're trying to do. You're planning to move in with us.
Why would I do that? Come on, Lena. Believe your brother.
Why do I have to tell you so many times? I told you that I can't believe in you anymore.
Why? Can't you be nicer to your dear brother? A little help won't hurt.
You could have been a better brother too, Noah. Remember all the trouble you caused your sister? We had to sell the house because of you, and you always stole money from our house. Do you know how hard Mom had to work to save all that money? She was saving her pay from her part-time job so that she could travel with Dad.
I'm sorry. I regret everything I did to Mom and Dad.
If so, why aren't you paying them back? I never thought of you as my brother. I'll tell you their bank account so that you know where to send them the money. If you regret what you did, start paying them back even if it might take some time.
I can't start paying them back if my basic living needs aren't being fulfilled. I don't even have a house.
Didn't I tell you, Noah? Stop depending too much on Mom and Dad. It's your fault that you lost our trust. There's nowhere you can go home to and no one you can depend on. You're no longer part of our family. You're just a debtor. Apparently, Noah and his wife left the house just before the old house was pulled down. However, he ended up borrowing more money to support his living expenses, so he hasn't even started paying back my parents. My parents have given up on getting back the $50,000 they lent him, and are now trying to use up all their savings so that there would be nothing left for my brother to inherit. I support my parents' decision because I don't want my brother to inherit anything either. My brother texted me the other day saying that he really needs to pay back his debts as soon as possible, so I finally decided to block him from my contacts. I don't want to be involved in any of his business. I no longer know what my brother and his wife are going through, but I've decided not to get in contact with him ever again. He deserves to be chased after his debt collectors. I'm currently enjoying a relaxed life with my parents after moving into our new house. Our new house has great security, so we no longer have to be afraid of robbers like my brother stealing money from us. I initially thought of paying back my parents on behalf of my brother, but my parents never asked for my help. They even offered to rent their own apartment when we decided to pull down our old house. They thought they might be a nuisance if they move into my new house. I can never forgive my brother who betrayed my kind parents, and I love my parents who are always considerate of me from the bottom of my heart. I want to become a daughter they can be proud of so that they can heal from what my brother did to them.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Peep Texts!
Hey, Piper. I heard from Mom. You're finally gonna be getting out of our hair and moving out of the house? Hey, you there? When will you be gone? This weekend. Sweet. You know, that room you've been staying in this whole time was originally mine and my little sister's dressing room. Make sure you don't leave any mess when you leave. Understood. Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful you let me stay. It's good that you understand, I guess. The most surprising thing here is that there's still actually someone left in the world willing to take you in. Who are you gonna be living with this time? Your Uncle Jeff. My Uncle Jeff? What? Who's that? Your dad's little brother? My dad has a brother? That's news to me. I have an uncle? Who'd have thought it? Whatever, it's not like it makes any difference to me. I hope for your sake, my Uncle Jeff and his family don't treat you like the nuisance that you are, lol. He lives on his own. Gross. Are you serious? Lol? You're going to live with a single old man? Aren't you worried he'll try doing weird stuff to you? I understand why he's taking you in now. That's seriously gross, ew. Good luck, Piper. Sounds like you're gonna need it, haha. Please don't speak about Uncle Jeff that way. He would never do anything like that. Wow, looks like I touched a nerve. To tell you the truth, I don't care one bit what happens to you. Actually, I've been praying for you to hurry up and get out since the moment you moved in with us 2 years ago. I never did get why your parents dying in a car crash meant you had to live with us all of a sudden. Like, you're only my cousin, why was that our problem? It's been such a drag having you around. I bet I'm not the only one happy you're leaving. My mom and sister Valerie are probably over the moon too. We should have a party to celebrate. I can't tell you how relieved I am you're going. I've waited so long for this moment. Is that so? In that case, I'm sorry to have been such an inconvenience. It really wasn't my intention. I'll get out as quickly as I can. I don't want to trouble you any further. Yeah, good idea. The longest we've ever had a relative other than you stay with us was 6 months. But we were kind enough to have you here getting in our way and being all irritating for a whole 2 years. You better make damn sure you show some gratitude towards my mom and dad. Oh, and don't forget about me and Valerie. Yes, of course. I'm really grateful to you all for letting me stay with you. Thank you for having me. There's one thing that's really gonna suck about not having you around. It means I'm no longer gonna have a servant to do my homework or get rid of my toenail clippings. I hate to admit it, but that part and that part alone is a real shame. It doesn't make up for having to tolerate you the rest of the time, though. So make sure you stay at your new place for as long as possible, okay? Because we don't ever want to see your face around here again. Hey, I need you to do my homework for the winter break. I'm gonna mail it to you. Tell me the address. I'm busy preparing for my exams, but you must have lots of free time, right? Don't pretend you're actually doing anything worthwhile. I won't help you anymore. Please, do it on your own. I'd appreciate it if you didn't contact me either. I have exams to prepare for just like you, and I have enough on my own plate without doing your homework for you. What? You dare to refuse me despite the fact that we let you live at our house rent-free? We put a roof over your head for 2 whole years, and this is your attitude the moment you move out? Do you have no concept of gratitude? You owe us. Piper, you owe me. Did you forget how you had food on the table because my dad went out to work every day to put it there? How you had clothes because my parents were kind enough to buy you them? You're an awful person. I'm grateful for all of those things. But I gave your mom and dad the inheritance I got from my parents when I moved in. All the costs of having me there, food, clothes, heating, it all came out of that. Your mom and dad didn't have to pay a cent of their own money. Huh? So what? You gave them some money? Big deal. The only reason you were able to go to school was because my mom and dad were kind enough to become your legal guardians. Don't get carried away, you pathetic orphan. Hey, don't ignore me. I can see you read my messages. Oh yeah, that reminds me. How are things at your new home? Did my uncle start doing weird stuff to you yet? Have you checked your bedroom for hidden cameras, lol? He didn't do anything to me. I told you he's not like that at all. He's treating me really kindly, actually. I'm enjoying my new life here.
I don't know. Could it really be true? You should be careful. My uncle sounds like bad news, just like your dead parents were. You know, I heard your mom pushed my grandma down the stairs once. That's why everyone broke off contact with them before they died. I don't know the reason, but apparently no one wants anything to do with my uncle either. He got disowned too. I suppose it makes sense you get along. You're both awful people after all. Birds of a feather flock together.
No, Josie, you're wrong. The reason my parents fell out with everyone wasn't because of any problems they caused.
Why didn't a single one of our relatives show up at their funeral then? Face it, everyone hated them. Why else would no one have gone, lol?
I can't deny that it's possible all of our relatives hated them. But the only reason for that is because Uncle Jeff or my dad wouldn't lend them money whenever they came begging.
Huh? What are you talking about? Money? I've got no idea what you mean, sweetie. How about you start making some sense for a change?
I'm only going off what Uncle Jeff told me. But he said him and my dad had some major business successes when they were young, which led to them being pretty well off financially. Unfortunately, your grandparents and your dad, as well as several of your other relatives, were notoriously bad with money, and all of them were in significant amounts of debt. They pestered Uncle Jeff and my dad for money constantly. They'd get messages all the time, and people would show up at their houses every month. They did actually agree to lend some out on a few occasions early on, but since they never got anything back, they stopped, broke off contact with the beggars, and moved away. Actually, that's not entirely true. Apparently, the real reason they broke off contact in the end was because your dad's mom, your grandma, pushed my mom down the stairs while she was pregnant with me.
What? My grandma did what?
Apparently, my dad refused to lend her any money, so she showed up when he was out and tried stealing my mom's purse instead. My mom fought back and they got into a struggle at the top of the stairs, which is when your grandma pushed her. She went flying all the way to the bottom and got hurt pretty badly.
You're lying! My grandma would never do that. She was always so sweet and kind to us, she wouldn't hurt a fly.
I'm really pleased to hear that. But ask yourself this. Did she ever give you any Christmas presents or pocket money? Birthday presents, gifts, things like that? Anything at all?
Well, no, but...
It's probably true then, isn't it? Apparently, your grandma has a gambling addiction. And besides, do you really think she'd go around telling everyone what she did? She was probably terrified she'd lose her son and his family. You guys are all she has left now.
This is probably just some twisted, made-up fantasy of yours. And I bet Uncle Jeff is just bitter over being kicked out of the family, and this is his way of getting revenge. Oh yeah, and one more thing. My dad is not in debt. Like, what the hell? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Don't make up lies about my parents just because you don't have any. I'll have you know, he said things are going great at his work, actually.
If I have no parents, you have no house.
Huh? No house? I hate to tell you this, but we definitely do have a house.
And I hate to tell you this, but it's looking like your dad's company are gonna go bankrupt real soon.
What? You're getting desperate now, Piper. It's actually sad watching you self-destruct like this. What's gotten into you? Where did these deluded fantasies come from? It's actually scary. Maybe you should see a shrink, lol?
No, apparently it's true. Uncle Jeff and my dad might have had the brains it took to start up and run successful companies and earn a comfortable living for themselves. Unfortunately for you, we can't say the same about your dad.
Stop lying! It's true he went through a couple of rough patches in the past, but that's old news. He said things are going really well lately. All I have to do is say the word and he buys me whatever I want. Unlike you, we have lots of money. You're probably just jealous.
Since when? When did your dad say things with his company were going well? That was back when I was living with you, right? I don't think he'll be buying you anything else from now on.
What does that mean?
Do you have any idea how much money I gave your parents? Go on, have a guess.
Huh? Why are you asking me that all of a sudden? And why the hell would I know?
$150,000.
What? $150,000? What?
It was the inheritance my mom and dad left me. All of it. They knew there would be no relatives left for me to rely on with them gone. So they left everything they had to me so I'd never struggle financially. But when I moved in with you guys, your mom and dad told me it was for the best if they managed my money, and they stole my bank card. The reason your dad seemed so prosperous, the reason you were so well off, the reason you were able to snap your fingers and have him buy you whatever you wanted at the drop of a hat, was because you were all living off of my money. I asked if I could have my bank card back when I moved out, and they readily admitted there is nothing left on it. That's what a wonderful guy your dad is. Oh yeah, and the reason his company is about to go under is because of personal bankruptcy, apparently. Looks like things are about to get super difficult for you guys. Things aren't so easy when you don't have my money to rely on, huh? You're most likely not even gonna have a house to live in soon. Which means it's time to get the mops and buckets out and get ready to go. Make sure you don't leave any mess when you leave, okay? Huh? You're leaving me on red now? I guess you probably don't have time to reply to my messages. What with being about to lose everything you hold dear and have your life turned completely upside down. Good luck!
Hey, Piper, are you okay? Uncle Jeff isn't doing anything weird to you, is he? How are you doing? I've been really worried about you.
Where the hell did this come from? Actually, I think I'm the one who should be worried. Getting messages like this from you of all people? Are you feeling okay?
Of course I am. But, I was thinking, isn't it like super boring living with just the two of you? Why don't we all live together again? You can bring Uncle Jeff along too. I won't be mean to you at all this time. I'll be so super kind and we'll get along amazingly.
Oh, you're actually aware of how horrible you were to me then? I'm surprised. I have no intention of ever living with you again.
Come on, Piper, me and you are cousins, family. Let's get along like cousins should.
Nope. Did you completely forget about how you guys treated me this whole time? You made me feel like less than the dirt on your shoes. You constantly made me feel like I was in the way, like I wasn't welcome. Not to mention your parents taking advantage of the fact I was underage to steal my entire inheritance. You constantly being forced to eat your leftovers. I don't think I had even a single fresh meal the whole 2 years I stayed with you. You and your sister forced me to clean your rooms, to do your homework. You basically made me your servant. Then you threatened to tell your parents I was bullying you if I didn't comply. At the end of it all, I suddenly got kicked out on the streets. And of course, I have nowhere to go because my parents are dead. I can't prove it, but I'm guessing it was because they ran out of my money. You have no idea how that felt or what you put me through, do you? Every day was a struggle for me without any money to get by on. Do you know what it's like to wake up and not even knowing whether you're going to be able to eat that day? Or whether you're even going to be alive next week? It was terrifying.
Come on, Piper, how was I supposed to know you gave my parents that much money? I never would have acted like I did if I knew. Please understand.
In that case, you should be mad at your dad for not telling you anything.
Listen, I'm sorry. Please, will you forgive me? I have a small favor to ask too. Can I come and live with you, please? You're in that apartment block near the station, right? Please, could you ask Uncle Jeff for me? I am his niece, after all. He'll take me in, won't he? Right? Please, Piper, tell me he'll take me in.
Allow me to politely refuse your request. Uncle Jeff said I'm forbidden from having anything to do with any of our relatives. He says it's a rule of me living here, so sorry, no can do. I have nothing further to say to you, and no further interest in continuing this conversation. We done?
Ugh, don't be so mean. He only made that rule because of what went down between him and our other relatives. Why should me and you fall out over adult problems? I might not be able to go to the high school I want to go to next year at this rate. I wanted to go to the private girls' school with the cute uniform. I studied so hard for my exams despite that I hate studying more than anything in the world. But Dad just told me I have to give up because he can't afford the tuition fees anymore.
How can that be? Weren't private schools made free of charge lately?
Yeah, but the family is still responsible for covering a share of the expenses. Ugh, you know nothing!
Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably why I was tricked by your parents and had my entire inheritance stolen.
Enough about that already. Sheesh. Look, please, will you just speak to Uncle Jeff for me? He's rich, right? Plus, I'm cuter and more mature than you. I'm a ray of sunshine. His life would be so much better with me around. He won't be able to resist once he sees my picture. He'll be practically begging me to live with him. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna send you a picture now. Make sure you show it to Uncle Jeff, okay? Tell him I'll do anything.
I see. Okay, I showed him the picture.
So? He said I'm cute, right?
Well, not exactly. He said, you reap what you sow. Then he said if you really meant it when you said you'd do anything, never contact us again.
What? He said that? I understand why all our relatives hate you both now. It takes a special kind of monster not to help out family in their hour of need. That's why your parents are dead. I bet it was their punishment for being so horrible to people. You and my uncle are probably gonna die slow, painful deaths too.
I don't want to be seen to be harping on about my misfortune. And besides, I hate complaining anyway, so I kept this quiet, but I've been struggling ever since my parents died. Want to know how many of our relatives were willing to help me out in my hour of need? 0. Your parents suddenly changed their tune and approached me like they were my best friends in the whole world when they found out I had the inheritance money. But the only relative who helped me because he actually cared about me was Uncle Jeff. The rest of them were just after my money. Your parents included. You too. You bullied, picked on, and harassed me at every opportunity, didn't you? You treated me like dirt the whole 2 years I was there. Just like your parents, didn't you? What's the matter, Josie? Cat got your tongue? Well, I guess there isn't really anything you can say since everything I'm saying is 100% certified truth. The truth hurts, doesn't it? This must be what Uncle Jeff meant when he said you reap what you sow. You're probably gonna die a slow, painful death. Not long after, Josie's parents divorced due to her dad's bankruptcy and the subsequent collapse of his company. They'd barely been divorced 5 minutes when her mom moved in with a new man. Last I heard, Josie and her sister Valerie had been taken into the care of a relative on their mom's side. She probably never would have imagined in a million years that one day she'd be the one being passed around like some unwanted orphan. I recently found out that back when Uncle Jeff cut ties with his parents, he went overseas to start up a business, which was a major success and earned him a ton of money. Apparently, the reason he came back was to enter semi-retirement and live a comfortable life off his profits. I'm so grateful he came to look for me when he heard news of my parents' death after coming back. My mom wasn't in contact with any of her relatives, so I really didn't have a soul in the world to rely on. And truthfully, he probably saved me from being put into a foster home. Apparently, my mom and dad, being deeply mistrustful of our relatives and their insatiable lust for money, had asked Uncle Jeff to take care of me in the event that anything happened to them. Here's the shocker. He'd been looking after a chunk of the inheritance that I had no idea existed. It turns out that the money Josie's parents stole from me was only a tiny, tiny fraction of everything they left to me. And Uncle Jeff, being aware of my situation, very kindly saw to it that all of the necessary procedures were dealt with and the money was safely kept away until I was old enough to have it myself. Of course, he also took me into his care. He was absolutely livid when he found out what they did with my money. "How dare they steal money from a child?" he yelled. I was in the first year of middle school when my parents passed away. This whole thing taught me that you should always look into and understand things for yourself rather than relying on the assumption that others are good-natured and have your best interests at heart. Now I'm learning about organizations that help children in need, as well as studying money and finance while staying with Uncle Jeff. It's my goal to one day work for an organization that helps such children. Children who are struggling and need a helping hand, just like I did back then. I made a vow to never let anyone deceive me ever again, and to live my life with strength and wisdom from now on. This whole thing taught me that the world is full of bad people who will take advantage of you if given the opportunity. By the way, me and Uncle Jeff are planning on moving when I graduate high school. When he came back from his business trip overseas, the greedy relatives somehow got wind of it and immediately started showing up at his apartment again. We want to move somewhere they can never find us again as soon as we can. I'm sick and tired of money-grubbing relatives. The sooner I never have to see them again, the better.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.